Let's jump right into this explainer, because today we're looking at why picking the perfect carpet is really only about 10% of the battle. What happens underneath is what truly matters. I know, you've probably spent weeks agonizing over fiber types, testing textures, and trying to find that exact right color for your living room. But here's the harsh truth that catches so many homeowners completely off guard. The quality of your flooring material means absolutely nothing if the installation is subpar. So, we're going to unpack the hidden traps that can turn a massive financial investment into an expensive regret, and more importantly, how you can protect yourself. Here is our survival guide for today. We'll uncover the hidden flooring trap, identify the invisible enemy that is moisture, look at installation disasters to avoid, compare carpet tiles versus broadloom, and finally, protect your warranty. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the hidden flooring trap. Check out this staggering number, $2.4 billion. Moisture-related issues contribute to over $2.4 billion in annual construction defect claims in the U.S. alone. That is billion with a B. And flooring is a massive piece of that pie. You see, the tricky part about a bad installation is that it doesn't announce itself on day one. Your floor is going to look beautiful right after it's laid down. But fast forward 6 months, and you might start noticing these weird ripples forming down the hallway. A year later, the seams are peaking when the light hits them just right. By year 3, you're looking at premature wear, loose stairs, and completely ruined materials. And this is exactly why cutting corners is a terrible idea. Take a look at this breakdown for a typical 1,500 square foot home where you've invested, say, 10 grand in flooring. A budget installation might look like a total steal on paper, but that poor installation will literally cut your carpet's lifespan in half, if not worse. Instead of enjoying it for 10 to 20 years, you're ripping it out in 3 to 5. When you do the math, that bad install effectively triples your annual cost, shooting it from maybe $500 a year to over $3,000. And honestly, that doesn't even factor in the daily headache of living with rippled, worn-out carpets. Moving right along to Section 2, the invisible enemy, moisture. Before laying a single inch of flooring, we absolutely have to talk about MVER, which stands for Moisture Vapor Emission Rate. It's crazy to think about, but concrete, despite looking like this solid, impenetrable slab of rock, is actually highly porous. It holds a surprising amount of water. As it cures and dries, all that trapped water vapor naturally migrates from the bottom of the slab right up to the surface. If you go ahead and slap a floor covering over that concrete before it reaches equilibrium, you are trapping that vapor. Over time, it's going to re-emulsify your adhesives, cause severe debonding, extreme bubbling, and breed mold and mildew. Gross, right? The industry is undergoing a massive shift in how we actually test for this moisture, and for good reason. For decades, the standard was the ASTM F1869 method, or the calcium chloride test. But honestly, it's outdated surface-level guessing. It only measures the top fraction of an inch of the slab and gets totally skewed by the temperature and humidity of the room. Thankfully, the new gold standard is ASTM F2170. This method uses in-situ probes drilled directly into the concrete, going down to exactly 40% of the slab's depth. It gives a highly accurate, predictive internal map of the relative humidity. Listen, if your installer isn't using F2170 for a moisture-sensitive installation over concrete, you're taking a huge gamble with your money. All right, Section 3, installation disasters to avoid. Let's run through the 5 most common shortcuts that budget installers will take. First up, skipping the subfloor inspection. They'll just ignore squeaky boards or uneven spots that are guaranteed to telegraph right through your brand new carpet. Second, they cut corners on stretching tools. Third, they place seams wherever it's easiest for them, usually right in the middle of your natural sightlines. Fourth, they slap down cheap generic padding that technically works but causes the carpet to crush way too early. And finally, they completely ignore the Carpet and Rug Institute, or CRI, installation standards, which can instantly void your warranty. Any single one of these shortcuts is a one-way ticket to ruined carpets. The difference between a floor that lasts and an absolute disaster often boils down to one tool: the dreaded knee kicker. It's just a hand-operated tool that only provides localized tension. If your installer is only using a knee kicker, I guarantee your carpet will develop waves and wrinkles within months. Proper carpet stretching requires a power stretcher. It's a specialized, extensive tool that creates this perfect drum-tight tension across the entire room. If an installer hesitates to put their use of a power stretcher in writing on your contract, that is a massive red flag. Do yourself a favor and walk away. Let's shift gears to Section 4, carpet tiles versus broadloom. When you're weighing the two main contenders here, you really need to ask yourself what the room actually demands. Carpet tiles are modular, usually coming in 18 by 18 or 24 by 24 inch squares. The beauty of these, if the dog has an accident or you spill a glass of wine, you literally just pull up that one single damaged square and swap it out. They're an absolute lifesaver for basements, kids' playrooms, and concrete subfloors. On the flip side, long loop broadloom carpet gives you that gorgeous, seamless, formal plushness you probably want in a primary bedroom. But it requires expensive professional installation, and if a pet claw snags just one loop, it can run like a snagged sweater, and you might end up having to replace the whole room. Because they're so modular and forgiving, carpet tiles are totally taking over the residential market for everyday spaces. If you go the carpet tile route, you can save thousands of dollars on labor with a brilliantly simple DIY process. Modern tiles mostly use peel and stick or release adhesives, so you just prep and clean the floor, snap a chalk line to find your center, stick the tiles down along the lines, trim your borders to fit with a utility knife, and roll it out to remove any bubbles. A motivated homeowner can literally floor an entire basement in a single afternoon, even with zero prior experience. It's a total game changer.
And finally, Section 5, protecting your warranty.
Manufacturers offer some pretty incredible protections. Take the standard premium warranty, for example. It offers 25 years of quality assurance, covering everything from stains and pet accidents to fade resistance and texture retention. It sounds like an impenetrable shield for your wallet, doesn't it? But here's the catch. The hidden danger lies entirely in the fine print. Manufacturers hold homeowners to a very exact standard of care. If you miss even a single step, that amazing 25-year promise vanishes into thin air. It is shockingly easy to accidentally void that protection. Did you know that most carpet manufacturers legally require you to pay for professional hot water extraction every 12 to 18 months and actually keep the receipts to prove it? Yeah, renting a machine from the grocery store doesn't cut it. And what about everyday cleaning? There are documented cases where homeowners had to replace entire bedroom carpets completely out of pocket because they tried to clean a spill with Windex. It permanently destroyed the fibers and completely voided the warranty. On top of that, using a steam mop on luxury vinyl, skipping those moisture tests we talked about, or even letting your home's indoor humidity drop below 30% or rise above 50% can instantly invalidate your claims. You really have to read that fine print. Your floors are the literal and figurative foundation of your home. They endure every footstep, every spilled drink, and every pet zoomie your family throws at them. Now that you know the invisible threats of concrete moisture, the massive difference between a knee kicker and a power stretcher, and the incredibly strict fine print attached to a 25-year warranty, the power is entirely in your hands. So, empower yourself with this knowledge. Demand F2170 moisture testing. Always get your installer's methods in writing, and never, ever let a budget installation ruin a premium investment. Knowing the hidden traps in testing, installation, and warranties, what steps will you take today to ensure your next flooring investment lasts 20 years instead of just 3? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer.